Good morning. In the last lecture, we completed Ampere's law and steady state current. Our next article is generalization of Ampere's law and displacement current. Generalization of Ampere's law and displacement current. We know what is Ampere's law. Equation number 1. Line integration of the magnetic induction over or around a closed path is always equal to mu 0 times the current I enclosed by that closed path. This is the Ampere's law or Ampere's circuital law. We know that magnetic induction B is equal to mu 0 H. You have studied this last year in magnetization. Let us put this value for B in this equation, equation number 1. So, with this value, equation 1 becomes mu 0 H dot dl is equal to mu 0 I. This mu 0 is constant, can be taken outside the integration, and what left is this mu 0 get cancelled, and the equation we obtain is this. So, equation 2 is other form of Ampere's circuital law, that is line integration of magnetic field strength or intensity of the magnetic field over a closed path is equal to the current I enclosed by the closed path. Other statement of Ampere's law or Ampere's circuital law. Then let us represent this current I in terms of the current density vector, and which can be represented as I is equal to the current I can be represented in terms of current density vector J as I is equal to surface integration of the current density J. Let us equate equations 2 and 3. RHS of equation 2 and LHS of equation 3 are same, and therefore LHS of 2 and RHS of 3 can be equated. So, from equations 2 and 3 we can have other equation, this one. Equation number 4. Then let us apply Stokes theorem to LHS of equation 4. Last year in second paper we studied Stokes theorem. What is this Stokes theorem? Line integral of a vector, of course it can be any vector. Line integral of any vector over a closed path is always equal to surface integration of curl of normal component of that vector over the surface enclosed by this closed path. Let me repeat the statement of Stokes theorem. Statement of Stokes theorem is line integration of a vector around a closed path is equal to surface integration of curl of normal component of this vector over a closed surface bounded by this closed path. So, applying Stokes theorem to LHS of equation 4, LHS of equation 4 can be written this way. Applying Stokes theorem to LHS of equation 4, LHS of equation 4 can be written this way. LHS of equations 4 and 5 is same, therefore RHS of equations 4 and 5 should be equated. So let us equate RHS of equations 4 and 5 to get just write yes here, not ds. Here also, just write yes. This is surface integration, this is also surface integration. So bring this to RHS so that RHS will now become curl H minus J dot ds is equal to 0, equation number 6. Equation number 6 is true for any arbitrary surface. Equation number 6 is true for any arbitrary surface. And therefore, this integrand must vanish, as this integration is true for any arbitrary surface. Yes, integrand must vanish, and therefore, from equation 6 we may further write curl H minus J is equal to 0, or it may be further curl H is equal to J, equation number 7. From equation 6, applying 6 to any arbitrary surface, we got this equation curl H is equal to J. This is one form of Ampere's law, Ampere's circuital law. We want to discuss validity of this law. We want to discuss validity of this Ampere's law to time varying fields. We want to discuss validity of this form of Ampere's law to time varying fields, the fields which are time dependent. We want to study validity of this equation to time dependent fields. To discuss this for time varying fields, let us use the vector identity. Last year you studied 5 vector identities. So many others are also there, but for your syllabus only 5 vector identities were recommended. So you studied these 5 vector identities. Let us use one of them. Divergence of curl of a vector. Divergence of curl of a vector. And what is the vector identity? Divergence of curl of any vector is always 0. Divergence of curl of any vector is always 0. Let us try to apply this vector identity to this equation. Let this be equation number star. Apply the vector identity. Divergence of curl of a vector is equal to 0. Take divergence of equation star. Divergence of curl H minus J is equal to 0. That is nothing but divergence of curl H minus divergence of J is equal to 0. This is further divergence of curl H is equal to divergence of J. Equation number 8. What is the vector identity? Divergence of curl of a vector is 0. Therefore, according to this vector identity, LHS of equation 8 should be 0. As LHS of equation 8 is 0, it means that divergence of J is equal to 0. Equation number 9. Applying the vector identity, divergence of curl of vector 0, LHS of equation 8 becomes 0, and consequently we have divergence of J is equal to 0. Equation number 9. After getting equation 9, let us write the equation of continuity. Let us write equation of continuity. The equation of continuity for time varying fields, the equation of continuity for the fields which are time dependent is equation of continuity is divergence of J plus dou rho by dou t is equal to 0. From this equation, divergence of J is equal to minus dou rho by dou t, equation number 11. From equation 9, we have divergence of J is equal to 0. From equation 11, we have divergence of J is equal to minus dou rho by dou t. Equation 9 will be true. Equation 9 will be true if this RHS is 0. Equation 9 will be true if this RHS of equation 11 is 0. RHS of equation 11 will be 0 if this charge density rho should be static. If this charge density rho is static, then only RHS of equation 11 will be 0. What is meaning of this charge density rho should be static? It means that charge density in the given field should be stationary with respect to time. Charge density should be independent of time. If charge density is independent of time, differentiation of this charge density with respect to time will be 0. That is, the charge density is static, independent of time. And therefore, equation 11 is true only if charge density of the field is static. It means that divergence of J is equal to 0 for only static charge density. And we have static charge density for time independent fields. We have static charge density only for time independent fields. It means that the Ampere's law is not valid for time varying fields. Ampere's law could be applied only for static fields or only for steady fields. The fields which are independent of time, the fields which are steady fields, to those fields only Ampere's circuital law could be applied. It is applicable only to the stationary fields, the steady fields or time independent fields. It is not sufficient for time varying fields. You could not apply Ampere's law to the time varying fields. If you want to apply Ampere's law to the time varying fields, you have to do modifications to the Ampere's law. And if modifications are done to the Ampere's law so that Ampere's law may be made consistent with the time varying fields. Maxwell mathematically worked for this solution and he proposed that the charge density J defined, or the charge density of the field defined in the Ampere circuital law is not sufficient. The definition is incomplete. The definition is not complete. As definition of the charge density according to Ampere's law is incomplete, Ampere's law is not applicable to time varying fields. It is only applicable to the steady state fields or time independent fields. And therefore, if you want to apply modifications to the Ampere circuital law so that it can be applied to the time varying fields, we have to first change definition of the charge density. Total charge density of the field valid for steady as well as time varying fields should be C is equal to J plus JD, equation number 12. Total charge density of the field under consideration corresponding to steady state and corresponding to time variation should be C is equal to J plus JD. Earlier, while deriving Ampere circuital law, charge density defined was only J. Maxwell added the term ZD to the charge density so that total charge density of the field has become C is equal to J plus ZD, and this C should be solenoidal. C should be solenoidal. What is meaning of solenoidal? You have studied meaning of solenoidal vector, a rotational vector. Solenoidal vector is that vector whose divergence is 0. If divergence of a vector is 0, that vector is known as solenoidal vector. This is charge density, total charge density vector made up of these two parts corresponding to time independent or steady part of the field corresponding to the time varying part of the field, and moreover this charge density vector should be solenoidal. Let us substitute this value of C, total charge density, in equation star. Let us substitute this value of total charge density C as J plus ZD instead of J in the equation star. If we do this, we will get this M1. So, replacing J by ZD according to equation 12, we write the equation as curl H minus J plus ZD is equal to 0. If you take divergence of this equation, we will have a divergence of curl H minus J plus ZD in one bracket, outer bracket complete is equal to 0, that is divergence of curl H minus divergence of J plus divergence of ZD, bracket complete is equal to 0. This is taken to this side, so we have here divergence of curl H is equal to divergence of J plus divergence of ZD, but divergence of curl H is equal to 0, and therefore here we should have divergence of J plus divergence of ZD is equal to small d is equal to 0, or I may put this further as divergence of J is equal to minus divergence of ZD, equation number 13. So, replacing J by J plus ZD, the modification suggested to the total charge density by Maxwell, and using this total charge density in equation star, taking its divergence, solving, and using this vector identity, divergence of curl of H is equal to 0, we get this, and finally we get divergence of J is equal to minus divergence of ZD, equation number 13. What is equation 11? Equation 11 is divergence of J is equal to minus dou rho by dou t. Let us substitute this value of divergence of J from equation 11 into equation 13 here. Here for this divergence of J from equation 11, for this divergence of J, let us substitute minus dou rho by dou t. Okay. And if we substitute this here, it will be minus dou rho by dou t is equal to minus divergence of ZD, minus will go away, and here we can write divergence of ZD is equal to dou rho by dou t, equation number 14. So, making use of equations 13 and 11, we got equation 14, that is divergence of ZD is equal to dou rho by dou t. Now, let us use Gauss's divergence theorem. Let us apply Gauss's divergence theorem to this rho, the charge density, static charge density. To have divergence of D is equal to rho, that is nothing but, let me write this as equation number 15. Gauss's divergence theorem is divergence of D is equal to rho. This D is electric displacement vector. This D is electric displacement vector. Divergence of electric displacement vector is equal to rho. So let us use equation 15, Gauss's Stokes theorem. Let us use equation 15, Gauss's divergence theorem in equation 14. So for this rho we shall put divergence of D. If we put divergence of D for this rho here from 15 into 14, equation 14 may further be written as, that is divergence of ZD is equal to dou by dou t of divergence of D. This is for the divergence of JD is equal to, let us interchange these two operators. Dou by dou t is one operator, this divergence is other operator. Let us interchange these two operators so that we may put this as divergence of dou D by dou t, equation number 16. LHS is the divergence of ZD, RHS is the divergence of dou D by dou t. If we take away divergence from both the sides, what we get is ZD equal to dou D by dou t, equation number 17. D, electric displacement vector, dou D by dou t, a rate of change of electric displacement vector or time rate of change of electric displacement vector, and this is the displacement current. Therefore, dou D by dou t is known as displacement current. So, JD is taken as displacement current according to equation 17 because D is electric displacement vector, dou D by dou t is time rate of change of electric displacement vector. Therefore, this should be displacement current, and therefore this JD is equal to displacement current. So let us substitute this here, and our equation will now become curl H is equal to J plus JD, that is equal to J plus dou D by dou T. Equation number 18. Curl H is equal to J plus dou D by dou T, equation 18, and equation 18 is known as generalization of Ampere's law. Equation 18 is known as generalization of Ampere's law, and this form of Ampere's law in generalized form is applicable to the steady fields as well as to the time varying fields. You can apply this generalization of Ampere's circuital law to the steady fields as well as to the time varying fields, and therefore this form of Ampere's circuital law is known as generalization of Ampere's circuital law. This current dou D by dou T is as effective as conduction current. J conduction current, dou D by dou T the displacement current. J is the current density vector, that is the conduction current due to conduction current. Dou D by dou T, it is also current density vector, but it is displacement current. Displacement current dou D by dou T is as effective as the conduction current in developing the magnetic fields. Okay, so this is about generalization of Ampere's circuital law and displacement current. Everything is explained in detail and all the mathematical equations are solved. Each step of every mathematical equation is explained. Okay, hope you got this article in detail. Thank you.